Hello, everyone out there. Welcome to Geekout. We have Mike, my co-host, with us as normal, and we have two special, very important guests. We have just Phil because, well, Phil wanted to be just Phil, and then we have Sam. Um, so these guys are from a thing that I'm going to be participating in called Crit, the community-run Infinity tabletop. We're going to talk about how it originated and how the name changed because I definitely want to get into that too. But it is a free, open um, gaming convention that's all done online. Well, most of it. You guys going to have some live games, in-person games this year, which I find interesting. Um,
Oh,
but
I didn't know that either.
yeah, there's two of them.
Dude,
You
that's
didn't know
cool.
that? Oh, okay.
We seem very out of the loop now. Who are these ding dogs they sent to
I
talk about
definitely
this?
saw that they were going to be two live games.
Oh, snap.
So
That's so cool.
probably I'm assuming in Runehammer's shop, if I'm assuming. But I could be I'm assuming that. I'm not sure where they're going to be held. Um but it's a free online uh game convention that you can actually just go and play games for free. And what's awesome is it's 24 hours
I think
from
it's like 9
Saturday to
technically.
Sunday. Technically, there's some learning sessions.
Chris,
Yeah.
Chris, BGD, he's real adamant about that special Friday, which is just Friday, playing games, and so he's got some extra special pre games for the event and stuff.
So, so speaking of Chris, he got us together, and he said that you guys have an interesting origin story on how Crit came to be because you guys were the ones that came up with the idea.
Yeah. So back in 2023, I was um, probably watching a YouTube video about how like TTRPGs are a form of folk art and how every table like plays games a little bit differently and so creates their own table culture and they pass it on to other people through playing with them, and so it's this very like close knit sort, almost like a martial arts dojo family tree sort of thing where your master was the master of this other guy and it travels down the line. And so I'm watching this and I will just type out every thought I have if you give me the opportunity on the internet. So I show up on the Runehammer Discord and I'm like, hey guys, like we have all these people who helped develop uh, Index Card RPG through their particular play style, like actually playing it. Like this started as a hack and it became this thing. So what if like the community talks a lot about being very welcoming, and they are. You show up at the Discord and everyone says hi, they're very nice, they want to help you out, they want to show you what they're working on. That's cool. But there weren't a lot of games from these people who actually helped develop the thing for just random people showing up. So I was like, why don't we do this a couple times? And then I think Phil and some others heard this idea and was like, "Oh, hold my beer! I can do even better."
Yep. And I forget who said something about a game jam, but then I was like, yeah, let's jam out and play games because I didn't know what a game jam was. So running off what Sam said, and that other person, I think it was Andrew or S5 Photog, he somebody said, let's do a game jam, let's play games with new people, and I was like, yeah, I love teaching people, let's do it too. So uh,
That's how
yeah, that's how we got started.
Rune Jammer
Yeah,
started, right?
that's how
Yep.
we started Rune Jammer, the game jam. that was an online convention and not a game jam project like people might actually be familiar with, where a bunch of
No,
people make modules.
because game jam is usually people making games.
Yeah.
A little bit more impact to me than it does just a one-time game jam, because now we're doing it all the time, and
Yeah.
people make their own games. It's the index card RPG way, and they show them off and run adventures.
Yeah, it's really fun. I did it last year. I ran ECD6 and Index Card RPG last year, so that was a lot of fun. I played in Chris's game. That was really interesting. And so, how did it become Crit this year? Is it just because you guys felt that the name Rune Jammer didn't call?
What was happening was that Rune Hammer was the publisher that we were like, these games are so cool, you got to play them, man. And Rune Jammer was this event. And people, when we were trying to get them to promote it, were conflating these things. They were using them interchangeably, and it led to some confusion. So
That makes sense.
we decided as a group, I think very much smarter people than me came to this conclusion. They're like, we should probably rebrand so that it's a little clearer what's going on, and we get to sort of open the tent up a little bit bigger too, because Runehammer makes some really cool games, but there are so many really cool games out in the universe right now. And
Yeah.
we don't want to say, like, well, that's not from this one niche publisher that we started with, so you can't run that. No, we want to be like, yeah, like, come on in, run your weird game. We love it.
Good. And I was excited when Chris told me you guys were going to do that, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to do an Ironbound game. I have Plaguebound coming. We're going to do that. So I'm very excited about running a lot of games. I am still running an ECD6 Index Card RPG, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So speaking of games, you guys have a kind of like a slideshow of like GMs and games that are going to be there. So let's go through that real quick, unless there's something that I'm missing that you guys want to talk about beforehand.
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
We can go through the slideshow. Now, I'll preface this with saying a lot of these are going to show off Chris's BGD's games, because he set up the slides, and so there's
Yeah,
but a lot of them are BGD.
none of my games are in there. I'm running 4 games, and I have thoughts I could share, but no visuals.
Recently, get your splash art done for your ICRPG ninjas.
we should
Yes.
audibly mention also, it is from the 21st to the 28th of June. Registration does open April 21st. So,
to mark your calendars, people. Set that little event so it pops up. It sends you an email.
I do have to send an email to Chris, because I do need to change one of my games. Hey, Elder Goblin. Yeah, we know all these guys. All right.
Elder who?
All right. So the first game was The Mysteries of Miss Varnhenge. I'm thinking this is an NX Car RPG. It's Chris. Okay. I'm like, this sounds like a Chris game.
The first 10 slides are all Chris.
I'm like, this definitely sounds like a Chris game.
But like all these games are,
he's got his little logo down in the corner.
He does.
Yeah. These are all things that Chris has made himself, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. So like his own settings, his own adventures and stuff.
I mean, I played in like an 18. I think it's on the slide actually. So I'm gonna wait till we get there. But I did play in his game last year, and it was a lot of fun. And I want to catch one of his new ones. But I'm running so many games this year. I don't know if I'm going to be able to. I did take the whole week off, so I might be able to. All right, and this one also another Chris one. Obscure dark city of the deep desert. I'm not even going to try to say it.
Yeah, I don't know how Chris.
Oscuropolis.
Oscuropolis?
Oscur-
I think, yeah, that sounds better.
But Chris has some really unique game mechanics that he adds to this stuff. It's just not the regular stand-up mechanics usually.
No.
Blackwood File, which is a mystery investigation. This is the one I did, Thicker Than Water, and it's really a cool one-shot. Like, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's some deep secrets in there that you could really figure out the mystery.
I say, just looking at the imagery here, Dave, it made me think this is one that you would like.
It was a lot of fun. Whiter Than Snow, also another Chris's. A lot of
That
people
That
are
is
right. The
apparently
first
like a sequel to Thicker Than Water.
is it?
He said.
Oh, I might have to jump. I might have to jump in on that one. That one's Saturday 11 to. Oh, I think I can too. I think mine starts at 4, so I might be able to jump into that one. Operation Noir, no independent replicants, an index card RPG adventure. Great. Oh, here's one that's not Chris. Steve Lucia. I know that guy. Running Circle of the Broodmother, easy D6. And then Andrew is doing Jar of the Night, the King.
Yeah, so this
Save
is
the king.
I know a little
Save
bit
the
about
king.
this one, but that's because I bought it and everybody talks about it whenever they're like, "What's a good index card RPG adventure to run?" This one.
That one.
Running Tales
Save
of
the
Mar-
King.
Yeah.
Okay. I had trouble reading the font, but yeah, okay, I see it now.
Yeah, Andrew made a whole swashbuckling hack for ICRPG, and so he's running it, and it's going to be
I will be
super
running
cool.
it. I will be running it during this time frame, so that will be out for me. Andrew has another one for the cause, Blades in the Dark.
Nice.
So this is underneath the indie other category
Yep.
that wasn't necessarily the Runehammer catalog. So here we go. Blazing Dark.
Blades in the Dark. It's definitely a really fun system.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you haven't played Blades in the Dark, it's basically a heist game set in the most of the time it's set in fantasy, but some it could be stretched to be like Victorian London era. And there's mechanics specifically in Blade of the Dark that help the heist game move on.
I always thought of Blades of the Dark kind of like Dishonored 1.
Yeah, it's kind of like Dishonored 1. Yeah. The greatest regret is that I'm running games in all of the times I could play. I literally knew that this was coming up. I said, I am going to be off this entire time. So you're going to have to find somebody to work because I'm off. Because I knew
That's
I
awesome.
wanted to play in some. Doom in the Red Waste, a Shadow Dark. So we have speaking of Elder Goblin.
Yeah,
There we
Jordan.
go. Jordan's going to be doing Shadow Dark. Ooh.
I hope he writes a song for it. That would be cool.
Yeah, that'd be
would
awesome.
be cool.
No pressure.
And then we have my system, Plaguebound, Echoes of the
Yeah.
Fallen Star. If you're on this channel and you don't know about Plaguebound, I have not done well at marketing. So, but in case Crit did bring anybody here, Plaguebound is basically a D12 system that has a boon and bane structure like Easy D6, but it also has a pool structure kind of similar to Cypher. So that's the short end.
Okay.
That's the short description of it. Lost Castida. I always question.
Conquistador.
I always have trouble saying that word. Mine. Guy Milner. Okay. That will be a fun one. Knowing him, it would definitely, yeah. Another index card RPG. Tales of
Yep,
the
so
Rabbivanian. Is
Heath
that
is this is Heath from Geekverse.
okay? Is
It's
that
one of BGD's buddies, and he convinced Heath to come in and run a couple adventures.
is this going to be like a anamorphic type adventure? Because it definitely looks like it.
I believe so. BGD would have to.
I'll have to find Heath on the chat on this find out because I like anamorphic. The Cultists, also another Heath one.
Yeah,
And then
if you ever watch his streams and stuff, that's usually what he leads in with was like clips from the Cultist.
mhm.
I think it's hilarious.
Oh no, God, the Cultist is hilarious, and I can't. This would be a very funny game. I guarantee. It kind of is actually. I had a thought on a game system while at work today, and the Cultist comedy kind of plays into it a little bit. Um, and then we have Grit Fantasy RPG. Um, a walk in the woods. Ooh, so they're gonna do the Grit version of Fantasy RPG. So that's a little bit more deadlier than the standard.
It's pretty deadly comparatively.
Yeah.
And
I assume that's the why
Jeremy's
to
really
play in the
cool.
name then.
Yeah, Crit. Grit's a really fun game. Also, a D12 game.
Yes. Which is
Though
probably
not-
why I like it. Because
D12's cool.
I like D12s. You were going to say something about Jeremy?
The dice.
Oh, Jeremy's just excuse me. He's a fabulous illustrator. He's an excellent game designer. I have no doubt that all of his sessions are going to be super dope. I will also be running a session of Grit.
You will. Okay.
Yes, I will.
And then Grit Galaxies RPG, which is also Grit.
Yeah, that's a a new book that he hasn't that is
Fleshed
close to being ready to release, but not.
I'll
not
be
quite.
excited for that because I'm a sci-fi nerd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Then you'll like my next game too that I'm working on. Fantasy, another Grit Fantasy by Ryan this time. The Stillness. I like that imagery.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. The Beast of Hamlin.
Hamlin?
Hamlin.
That's Carl. So that's using that must be using Carl's Apocalypse.
Four
game.
Horsemen. Yeah.
The Four Horsemen setting.
Four Horsemen, yeah.
Which
That's
is a historic setting based on the 100 Years War.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Years War.
very historic. Like it takes away all the magic from Easy D6. It's very
Wow.
historic.
You can take out the magic mechanics, but you can't remove the magic.
That's true. But yeah, so the Four Horsemen is really fun. I played it at least once with Carl. And it's if you like history, he's the guy to do it with. So
that sounds awesome.
Again, another one from him. Same world, different adventure. Yeah. St. Michael's Rest Index Card RPG. That looks interesting.
Ooh.
aka Ant Bear.
Mike is another artist within the Index Card RPG community. He's been doing a lot of freelancing work as well.
I have to meet these artists, by the way. I have to spend more time in the Index Card RPG. Goblin Goblins. Okay, that just sounds fun. That just sounds fun.
This one.
I just got home. Okay. And let's talk about a couple other ones that are going to be there. Like, I know Ironbound's going to be there in two different ways. I'm going to have the Love, Death, and Monsters, which was an adventure created by the Avenue Studios guys. They're going to be playing. I'm going to be running that in Ironbound, and then I'm also going to be running my casino heist. And you said you were going to run some stuff, Sam. Anything that particular that you're going to be running?
So I wrote a real little hack for ICRPG, just called ICRPG Ninjas. And I'm running a session of that. Excuse me, my throat's all phlegmy now. Ew. And I'm running an Easy D6 adventure that I've only run in person before, called The Princess is Missing. I'm gonna run an electric Bastionland game, and I'm gonna run a grit game. So four different sessions, 4 different games. You can't pin me down for nothing.
Yeah.
Just
Last year I did
sessions.
something similar where I ran a different game system for every session last year.
That's
Wow.
a lot of work. I did that for
I had
PAX,
the
and
idea.
I regretted
This
it.
is very tangential, but I had the idea one time of running like a plane hopping game where every plane you hop to was a different system.
Oh, that'd be
So
fun.
you had to
Ooh.
like adjust your character with different rules, and so it would feel very different wherever in the universe you were. I think it takes a special group to like commit to this idea.
Well,
Yeah,
if you ever do, let me know. Because I
Yeah,
would
So
love
just
to
say
play.
it sounds like fun.
we on the Avenue Studios, we recently had somebody. They had a their system is broad, like very broad, but they had this really cool adventure where you went into this building and reality was shifting around you. So the character wasn't changing, but the world around you was shifting. So if somebody shifted into the spot you were in, you got pushed out of the spot and got damaged from it. Like, it was like you could possibly get stuck in a wall and that type of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Nice.
Open Legend or Cipher. DM Tales is in the house. He says he wanted to do that with Open Legend or Cipher. Cipher would be a good system to do that with.
Cypher's on that borderline of almost not indie, but I think Monty Cook Games. I don't know how popular it is outside of like America and these
America.
circles.
But definitely the shifting thing would be a lot of fun. So that's crit. I mean, a couple things. Go ahead.
I have some games that I didn't get my slides in there, but I'm running a 5-day camp. It's like a 5-day campaign, all centered around in the BattleTech universe, and
Ooh.
each day is going to be a new mission to build up your mercenary force, and then defeat the invader army and hopefully come out alive on the other side.
So are you
It
looking
won't
for
be-
players for all 5 days?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And so the idea is that it's a rotating cast of crew members from this mercenary crew, so that way I can justify having different people come in, and
Right.
everybody's working towards the same common goal.
Makes great for tie-in story building too, dynamically through those 5 days.
Yep. So it's not going to be one-for-one BattleTech because I don't want that kind of simulation in a 3-hour window. But
Oh yeah.
it's going to be a lot more narrative heavy and attitude more than customization and crunch.
Now,
Does
somebody. Mhm.
failure for success on a previous day impact the next day or impact the overall end state? I'm just curious how closely tied they are.
Yes, it will impact it.
That's cool.
Somebody did have an interesting question. Now you guys kind of curated the DMs this year, right?
A little bit,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
A little bit, yeah. Because somebody asked, can you sign up to run stuff still?
Not yet.
Not
No.
really. No, we have a a couple people who are, because things happen, who are ready to like add in new games or run like a single session or something for like when life happens and we lose somebody. Um, but for for the most part, we aren't. We're beyond the point where we're looking for a bunch of new GMs, or else I feel like, bizarre as it sounds, there are so many people who are excited to like run their game or their session that they know really well and have curated to be like awesome, that we just have this huge list of GMs and be like, can I get 2 players, please? Come
Well,
game time.
I'm very honored to be on that list then. Uh, so experiences that I've had at last year's was amazing. Like I was playing. I ran a couple sessions. I played a couple sessions. The players were amazing. The GMs were great. I mean, like I did not have a bad GM that year. Um, it was so much fun. Um, I'm looking forward to this year, definitely. Um,
Yeah,
and
with the great GMs and stuff, like that's something we try and hammer down in the locker room. Is like, hey guys, we got a code of conduct. We're trying to make this a safe and fun place for everybody to come in and experience what we're all doing, bringing our A games and stuff. So we want our players to be able to bring their A games with those energetic GMs and stuff too.
yeah, I think that's very important. It's on tabletop events. Oh yeah. So if you guys do want to find more information about this, you can always go to gameatcrit.com. I've posted the link in chat. So you should be see a couple times because the buttons didn't work, but you should definitely see it there if you wanted to take a look and possibly sign up. They are going to be using tabletop events for the signups, um, which I love. Tabletop events, it just makes things easier. You can message your entire table. You can get things ready for them and all that. So, um, I mean, besides you guys being wonderful guys, guys, got anything else you want to add to this? I mean, I'm trying to
Uh,
think what you know.
so we did talk about our origins as like how did we get into role
Oh
playing and
yeah,
stuff. So
oh yeah.
the
How did you guys get into role playing? Sorry.
before we get into that, I want to say a huge shout out to the background players for Crit 2, Skippy or Scott, BGD, who's our, well, he's not really a background guy. He's more of like the hype man with bugle horn out for side going, "Twit, twit." Andrew or 2617 Gaming. I think that's the number. I get those numbers mixed up. And then Skippy, Kane Driscoll. He does a lot of the stuff. Skip, Andrew, and BGD.
Yeah,
yeah.
the these people took a weird idea and uh through just a lot of their own free time made it into a real thing, which is now happening every year, and it doesn't happen by accident. It takes a shocking amount of work and planning, and just
Yeah.
A plus
DM
effort.
Tails and DM Tails definitely knows that with the Kleesacon.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm really bummed that not kind of. I am really bummed that I wasn't able to make it out. But being on the other, like in the middle of the United States with a young child, can't just be like, well, see ya.
I mean, that's what's so great about Crit is it's online, so you can just go and do whenever you're available. Just look for a game and sign up for it. Um, don't be like me and take the whole week off so you can run games and play games.
Well, the first year I did that and I ran 12-ish games, and last year I ran 7. This time it's 5.
I'm trying to think where I'm at. I think I'm up to at least 10 this year. So I have a game
Wait,
every
someone's
day.
in the room.
But
Or
yeah,
total.
so but yeah, come play with all us nerds online. Because it's a lot of fun. So let's real quick backtrack because you're right. I got distracted by needing to put out information. How did you guys get into RPGs, and where exactly? When did you guys become in communications with each other?
You first,
Like-
Sam.
Okay, so I technically my first exposure to tabletop RPGs was before I could read. My big brother got the boxed set of Star Frontiers from TSR back in like 1984. And this had a map, a double-sided map. It had little punch-out paper like counter things that had like characters on them and robots and aliens. It had pictures with different kinds of alien creatures that you could pretend to be in this game, and they had different kinds of guns and weapons. They had a sonic sword. How is that even a thing? So I was pretending to be a Drolocyte, which is like this weird shape-changing blob alien, before I was done learning my ABCs. Uh, and then once I was able to like read and stuff by age 8, my brother was playing AD&D, so I started on that. And it's been kind of a roller coaster since then. A lot of rifts in middle school.
Palladium
Um,
Rifts.
Yeah, Palladium Rifts. If
I
you,
love Palladium Rifts.
it
Yep.
is such a wonderful setting. Please find another system to play a Palladium game in. It's so nuts.
Bam.
Oh, woo,
Savage
yeah.
Savage Worlds.
Yep.
Um,
Um,
I actually picked up an original Palladium Rifts book a couple months ago. My buddy had it, and he was like, "Hey, I don't play this anymore. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it."
the ideas and the artwork in those books were so cool. Yeah, there's a deep sense of nostalgia that I have for that actually I have for some of like the artwork and the artifacts for like old AD&D, but not really for the system anymore. I
Yeah,
feel like the last time I tried to play an AD&D clone, I had like some type of trauma response to it. For whatever reason.
as
I think
much
I
as
remember
as
late
much as I
nights being
remember
bored.
loving ADD second edition, I've had the same kind of trauma response when I go to play those
Oh.
games. Um,
I referenced those 4 Magica encyclopedias that they put out. I still reference those for interesting ideas that just aren't there anymore, right? We don't have those type of things out anymore.
Yeah.
So idea
but,
wise, so
Well, and
uh,
then I got into like the Werewolf the Apocalypse and a little
Oh,
vampire. Being a vampire, not nearly as cool as being a werewolf. Just
no,
that's what I've heard.
sorry, folks. I know there are a lot of people who want to be a very fancy looking corpse. drinks other
I-
people's blood.
Right there with you. Between the two, I had a lot more fun with Werewolf because it's more cooperative
Yeah,
than
yeah, it was
say
very. It was you had kind of an agreed upon goal to be like, well, we're the good guys, and for there, those are definitely the bad guys. No, like, well, we're all kind of bad, aren't we?
We played the complete quirky side, which was the Fae,
Oh,
Hmm.
I
and
was
that was tons of fun.
I played with a guy who wrote for Changeling.
Yeah, there you go. I couldn't think of the name.
Um, I want to say his name uh, is, I'm going to assume, because I'm not certain how old he was when I played with him. But I think his name is Chris Howard. He wrote for one of the Changeling books, and we played a game where we were all different, like World of Darkness characters,
Mhm.
and it was set like just pre World War One. Anyway, that's a super big tangent, and not at all.
not at all important, right? I think it's totally important.
But
I mean, that's
anyway, I've played a lot of games for a long time.
I
I
definitely
think
don't have the track history that Sam does.
Oh, but you're so awesome. I was in one of your RuneJammer games last year. It was great.
Thank you.
so. Where did you start, Phil?
Where did I start? I started off with a little game called Rune or Rollmaster. However, I played this in 2014. Not this version. I played Rollmaster's standard system with some guys from work who were maybe 25 years older than me. So that was my first foray into it, and I played that same game, same world, same character for 5.5 years. And it was a dwarf that gave a +5 bonus to get hit and stuff by the enemy because he was so slow. So that's where I learned a lot of my role playing was like not charging head in first, but like how do we circumvent? How do we like maximize or figure out how to do better and shift a weight and on our side and all that stuff. And then we switched to hero system.
Look at Phil pulling
Look
out
at
all
him,
these
just
books.
knowing right where it
He's
is.
even
Like,
got that new Cairn box up behind him.
Yeah.
how did
So
you like the hero system? Because I've been debating about playing it.
So we played this for 3.5 years until COVID, and then I got married and had a kid and all that stuff, so I had to drop out. But this game is, if I like to tinker and I like to figure out what the essence is behind things. So if you like to do that, this is where it's at. Hero's definitely where the core of Champions and Fantasy Hero and Star Hero and all that stuff came from.
Right.
It can get crunchy, but it's also very light if you don't like do the optional rules for initiative by scent or initiative by hearing or extra dimensional senses and stuff. So pick and choose. The other thing I was recently getting into is GURPS here, and that's been my recent struggle.
Yeah, it's a struggle. It plays well, but the character creation in that is a struggle.
I've finally gotten
Um,
the hang of it because when I figured out advantages were powers, it all just went. Poof.
Yep.
So, but then after that, I tried getting into Genesis and Savage Worlds. I enjoyed Genesis. My friends did not so much. And then that's when COVID hit, and I got into Index Card RPG, and my life went down from there. Because then I
you
just
mean
did.
you went up because
Yeah,
you found a simple system that did everything you needed.
that's what I liked about it was so simple and like, oh, I got a gun. What does that do? Gun. That's it, man. That's it.
It does gun, dummy.
Yeah, we can do
Phil-
anything.
DM Tail says Phil knows the math. He knows all the math. Sent me to a site to explore the math, and I lost half a day.
Recently, I was looking at bell curves and probabilities and trying to figure out like, oh, how could I make my own random tables for scene setup for solo play and stuff. And Yeah, just yeah,
Down that rabbit hole, huh?
down that rabbit hole.
Phil
We've
will
all been
take an
there, Phil.
idea and he will, like it's a machine, he'll take every little piece off of it and look at all of them and synthesize it all, and then he will reconstruct it. And so he has a complete understanding of the thing, and that's what makes him so cool and why you should play in his Battletech game this summer.
Oh, I bet it's going to be amazing. I love.
Now, the one part that I struggle with is finding art, because like my prompt game is not great. I don't know many BattleTech artists, and so there's a lot of good BattleTech art out there, but like scene wise, I don't know. I don't have any like generic good scenes.
That would be tough
I
because
have
it's usually just like a centered on one mech, like shooting a gun and like walking. You know, like its legs are pointed this way, but its body is pointed this way, and it's pew. That's generally what I think of.
BattleTech stuff down here. I have an original 2750 TRO.
Jordan says, tell them about the graphs, Phil. Tell them about the graphs.
With the graphs.
About the graphs.
Oh, well, hold on. I got the shopping list. I gotta get it.
All right. I definitely will not be looking back at heavy. I'm definitely a cruncher. I like things like GURPS. I love getting into the nitty gritty, Phil, but I don't know if I'll ever go back to that because it's just so much easier running a what rules light system.
That is true. That's why I have like my generic systems they fit a not a niche. It's a niche, but they fit like a novelty. Because I have like a D100 generic system, a 3D6 generic system, a 20, and then one that does card flips or something like that.
Boy, Phil, I have this really good D12 system. You need to put as your generic D12 system.
Could you tell us what it is? I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, some guy came up with it up in Maine. Like, it's called Ironbound.
Ooh.
It's a fairly generic system that it has settings, but really it's very generic.
Ooh.
So,
yeah, I can usually, like Sam said, I can usually take it apart, find the core, pull it out, and play my own game with it and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you'll find all the mistakes too because there's a lot.
I'll send you those on DM.
What else should we talk about? Because I'm having fun. I don't want this to end.
Sam was talking about how he was read RPG books as a child. I read my daughter the entirety of Index Card RPG Master Edition when she was born. Ooh. I was stuck in the couch and I didn't have anything else to do, but I had the book next to me. So I just popped it open, read it out loud, and read her that in Mythic Game Master Emulator, and we read the whole thing. And weirdly, she likes books.
Yeah, my firstborn child, I rocked to sleep at night while reading her the journal of a famous haiku writer. And this past weekend, she read a novel in 2 days. So
wow. My youngest reads like that. And when he gets bored, he'll go downstairs and go through my RPG books and grab one and be like, I'm going to read this one. And then he's gone. He'll come back. If it's a weekend, he might come back a few hours later and trade it for the next one. If it's a weekday, wherever we're going in the car, it may be traveling with us.
I do find processing RPG books a lot easier than novels. I've always processed like textbooks and text manuals and stuff a lot easier than novels.
That's
I'm
awesome.
right there with you, Phil. I process RPG books way easier than novels. Novels are a struggle for me, but that's my ADHD. I think there's enough change in role playing books that it keeps my ADHD
Oh yeah, it
at
doesn't
bay.
like continue on a thing for too long,
Right.
and that's nice. I remember as a kid, even though I wasn't running the game, for some reason I got the Monsters Compendium that came in like the 3-ring binder that you bought like the the inserts for, and so I would flip through that. Guys, you gotta know, I was reading the name of the monster and looking at the picture. That was about it. And I just be like, oh, water weird. That's cool. Oh man, Umber Hulks, they look sweet.
I think my first nerd, I'll call it nerd book. My first nerd book was BattleTech Compendium Rules for Warfare, and I was like, I don't know what half these words are, but there's
Jargon term.
Motors.
Well, you definitely picked the right binder book to look at for pictures because that's some amazing.
We had to get those little like tape-on rings for when you wear the paper out in a 3-ring binder, because the the rings like tear the paper, and so you get these little sticky these little donut stickers basically, and you put them where the hole used to be before it tore, so you can keep.
As a person who works at Staples, they're literally called hole savers. That's literally what they're called.
Not Bunyan
that's a great name for a gay bar.
Bunyan savers or
Hole savers.
Oh.
Speaking of like playing with older people, I think I was like 12 when I started, and I started with a group with just one other 12-year-old, and they had like 5 other men that were like 25 and 35-year-olds. There was a 40-year-old, and so like I started with like my mom would be like, "You're going to see older men?" I'm like, "Yep, that's where I'm going." I bike almost an hour and a half to get there, and
well,
these are my friends, Mom.
I did run Index Card RPG Master Edition for my nephew, who was I think either 11 or 12 at the time, and now he runs it he does like a co-op thing with his brother, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Then his friends also have it, because I have too many copies of it, like Chris. I don't have as many as Chris does, but I gave it out
here somewhere.
Some local. There's like the local street library you can go to that somebody has in their house yard. Put a copy up there.
Ooh, that's a good idea. I should put a whole bunch of copies of RPGs in those.
I got for my kids because my oldest just started reading these Magical Kitty books, and so I got the Magical Kitties Save the Day RPG. Ooh, these things are not related, but now I've played with her, and she was 8, and then 2 4-year-olds. This past weekend, my 4-year-old son was like, "Can we play Magical Kitties again?" Like, well, I'm kind of sick right now, dude. I'm not really good. I can help you.
I just picked up No Thank You Evil from Monty Cook.
Yeah, that was the other one I was gonna say, is like the kid-friendly RPG.
I'm gonna try that one with my 8-year-old probably in the next couple weeks whenever I get free time.
Although when you do mention that, I think of that Ben Milton article where he was talking about like the kid-friendly RPGs, but you can just use a regular game, but then try and like I don't know how to describe it. I have it in one of the Knock magazines.
So it would have been before we moved back here, so we were still in Germany. So the boys would have been, oh man, this is probably close to 6 years ago, and we had a I just forgot what they're called. Calendars you give out for Christmas. Advent calendar. It was all Lego stuff, right?
Mm.
So it's Christmas morning. Kids have opened all the Advent calendars through the time, and then they've opened all the gifts, and the kids go down to the basement. And I haven't heard a peep from the boys. So if this is 6 years ago, we're talking they would have been 9-ish and 7-ish. I haven't heard a peep in like 3 hours. I'm like, this is really nice, but I need to go see what's going on. So I sneak down. I sneak down to the basement and I open the door and I peek in, and I have one of those huge battle mats. And they have it laid out and they've drawn all over it. And we haven't played any RPGs, right? But we've talked through kind of what they are and how they play, etc. So they have this battle mat laid out and they've drawn designs all over it for the buildings and the movements and stuff. And they've taken all these little Advent characters from the Advent calendar, and they have these little index cards, and they've written out like what type of character this is. This is a tank. This is a glass cannon. This is a ranged guy. And they're doing world balancing. Like the tank has 25 health and only does 5 damage, but the glass cannon does, like 18 health and can handle 3 hits, but can dish out 2 in that time. And this is their range, and this is how it's like, kids, who taught you all this? Like, where did you come up with this from? And it was just because the conversations we'd had, and we'd played some miniatures board games like that too. But it was amazing to go downstairs and just see this all laid out on the floor, and like, is this what you guys have been doing for 3 hours? Yeah, like, okay,
It
well,
has to be Germany, because
carry on.
Same thing. When I was in Germany, I did that same thing. I was trying to make my own little board game called. It was loosely based on Door Kickers. I had a different name for it. I think it was called Breach and Clear. But the whole idea was like it was supposed to be tactical movement, measure it out, and all that stuff.
What is it about Germany that makes people want to engage in wargaming?
I was in the military at the time there, so that was kind of my interest.
Same.
In the whole thing.
But yeah, so all right. I shouldn't keep you guys much longer. It's 9:00. We've been on here for an hour. So if you don't know about Crit, go to Crit at game@crit.com. Go take a look at it. Event opens up basically April 21st, so you only got a couple weeks before it opens up. So go get registered and play some games, because we're all nerds that like to have fun.
Yeah,
my game.
We'll give each other digital high fives and scream at our computers.
And if you're not part of the Discord, go to that same link, and there's a Discord link. You can go to that Discord, because all the games are run through the Discord for voice chat and stuff. So you're gonna want to be part of that Discord anyways. So you might as well join. Yep.
So I know that some people have asked me, like, can I watch the game? Can I listen in, and whatnot? And I said that depends on the game master. And the game master and the group who's playing, because not everybody's comfortable with that and stuff.
Correct.
I do ask my players, hey, do you guys mind if I record this? I'm not going to get anybody's faces since you're on Discord. I'm just going to record my VTT, and then I'm going to put it on YouTube, on YouTube later. Are you guys okay with that? So that's normally what I do with it. So that'll depend on the game master and the group who's playing, if you can listen in and stuff. I personally don't have a problem with it.
Now, same here. I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I would leave it up to the players at that point too.
Yep.
Have you guys thought about?
Do you know if they're setting up? Do you know if they're setting it up by channels, or are they setting up stages?
Channels. It was last year. It was channels.
Okay.
So basically, it does the same thing that my Discord does. That's where I got it from. You basically click on it and you create your own channel. So, have you guys thought about having stages?
I'm the wrong person to ask about that. I'm a Luddite. I can't.
Yep.
I don't know how to stream anything.
I have to talk to Glock about that, because Glock is the server owner. I did boost it. I did nitro it. Whatever, I don't know the term for it. I paid money.
You paid the extortion to Discord to make it better.
I paid the money so they give me more ads. I made money. I got money. I boosted the Index Card RPG community server so we can have more people. I don't know if we can do stages and whatnot. So
Well, it may be an overload too. The only reason I said stages is because you had talked about people coming in more like an audience, and stages allow you to do that where they don't interact with the people that are in the channel. They can come in, they're an outsider, they can see and hear what's going on. They may be able to interact through chat, pending what the settings are, but they cannot interrupt, right? Like they can do if they jump, if you just have somebody jump into a voice channel, and then you got that one random live
Yeah,
mic.
I know what you're talking about. Wow, my brain heard stages and immediately thought like video game stages. And I was like,
No.
is this a thing that's like a channel, but it's more involved? I totally
It's
forgot
both.
that I have seen that I did like a presentation in Discord using that. Me, I barely understand how we're doing this right now. It's
it's
so
Dave sent me a link, and it was magic.
yeah, I'm
bees that
I'm
live
talking to the internet.
a series of bees that live
A
inside.
very small group of it, Phil. Don't get too excited.
And they vibrate and carry. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to give away the secrets.
Yeah, the subatomic gnomes and subatomic elves that make everything happen. Yeah.
It's the dwarves that are the big carriers, though.
Oh,
no, just wait till we get to quantum. We start doing quantum transfers.
oh.
It'll be fast.
I think those are all fake creatures at the quantum level.
Well, they have to be. They're a little moody, so.
Yeah, they are. They're fickle.
All right. So everybody go join, if you can, join the Discord. Go ahead and join the event. It's April 21st again. It actually takes place in June 21st through the 28th, but you can start signing up for games on the 21st. So go do that. Yeah. All right. In that case, you guys all have a wonderful night. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Phil and Sam, for coming and sharing this great adventure. And we will talk to you guys all later. And remember, chaos is just about rolling dice. Talk to you guys all later.